Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Proline. And you can see me, Dave Cokin. You can see Chip Chirimbes. And you can see John Cranton from Jim Five Sports. We are going to look at some NFL, have some fun, get to Twitter. What was that, John? What did you just hold up?
The guy I'm sitting in for.
Ah, that is that's a new picture.
Now, if you'd like me to sit in for him, I can do that.
Yeah. Now, Matt, we don't want to. We want to get serious about NFL. This is serious.
Now that's serious.
That's serious NFL action. 7-1 on the year.
You'll notice that all the pictures of me, the old pictures of me, they're long gone. It's like, man, that guy doesn't even exist anymore. Shit.
Dave, your look hasn't changed.
Yeah. Everything else has. Okay, let's before we get into anything else, let's tell everybody what we've got coming up, and let's start off with John. Jim just crushed the top play last year, and he's got a terrific special getting people out of the gate this year with the preseason.
Yeah, Jim was 10-1 with his top plays last August, 9-5 with totals, and that's significant because there are super soft totals in August, and Jim has unloaded one for this weekend, week 2 of the NFL preseason, his 2012 preseason total of the year, and it comes with a guarantee. You will win and get the rest of August free. It's $50 online. However, if you want to get it for $25, along with Jim's Thursday Inner Circle TV Game of the Month and 7 days of baseball, all this for $25, 1-866-841-1655.
Chip, we talked about the Megabucks plays. They continue to dominate.
Right.
You've gotten off to a phenomenal start in this year's NFL preseason. So, it's always nice to come out of the gate with black numbers right off the bat. It puts everybody in a confident frame of mind, and that's what you've accomplished already.
Yeah, Dave, hitting 7 of our first 8 in the NFL preseason. Of course, Megabucks leading the way, and I have a particularly strong offer for everyone out there. I want them to get on board. Dave, you and I have talked about this numerous times, how the NFL preseason is a great time for handicappers. You know what the quarterback rotation is going to be. You know which coaches are looking to impress and get off on a great start, and I've been off to a great start. 7-1 the first 8 contests I posted. I'm going to offer everyone out there my NFL preseason game of the year for $19, and the next 10 days of NFL Megabucks and Major League Baseball action will be included. That's 10 days of action. The NFL preseason game of the year is for $19. Simply call 866-841-1665. Let me get that to you again. 866-841-1665. Sorry about that, John. I do know the number. 866-841-1665.
All right, I'm going to have my big game this weekend for the preseason. There's some good information out there. Chip was alluding to the fact that you can get this information, and if you can digest it properly, you really do get a pretty good edge.
Right.
And I think there's one situation that's strong enough for me to jump out there this weekend. I'm going to have my NFL preseason game of the year. I'm going to sell it online for $99. You can get it for $29. And I'm going to include a week of baseball and the rest of this week's NFL with that. And I should mention, this has won 7 years in a row. So preseason game of the year, it's been good. And I like my chances again. So, again, $29 with this special offer. I mean, you want to pay more than that, that's cool with me. I'd rather be honest. If you ask me, I'd rather have to pay $99 than $29 for obvious reasons. I make more. But the smart move is to call the office. Get the week of baseball, the week of NFL, and the big game, all for $29. 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Before we get to our question of the week, actually, what do you want to start with? You want to start with this Lions-Ravens game? Why don't we get to that? Okay. It is a Friday game. We've got some good information to pass along. John, you've amassed some info as far as rotations are concerned on the Lions-Browns game. The Lions-Ravens game on Friday night. And by the way, it should be pointed out the Ravens won last week, but they were down 14. First unit got outscored 14-0. So the Falcons kind of had their way as far as the first string's concerned. That could play into what happens in this game.
Yeah, the way that I'm looking at this game is the total. I mean, it's actually kind of a marquee game if it were the regular season. You got the high-flying offense of the Lions against the power defense of the Ravens. But Well, this is one of the highest totals on the board this weekend, and I find that a bit surprising. Went from 38 up to 39. And first of all, the weather conditions for the game: 10-mile-an-hour winds, a 50% chance of rain. And remember, these teams, while they played some high-scoring games last week, 19-17 and 34-17, both those games were indoors. The Ravens were at Atlanta, and Detroit was at home. Now they're going outdoors. They're going to be playing on natural grass. And the thing about the Lions is the coach said, let's be clear, preseason games, we don't really use them as a barometer. That was Jim Schwartz. Now, this is a guy who's 12-3 against the spread against the AFC, but I don't look at them as taking this game as serious offensively as they have in past years. I mean, this Lions team has been a young, up-and-coming team the last couple of years, very good in preseason. Now they're more of an established team, so they're more interested in keeping players healthy than kind of setting the tone. If you remember last year in preseason, they destroyed the Patriots at home. Well, that was a step-up game for them, but they're not like that anymore. This is an up-and-coming team that is expected to win. And then you got the Baltimore Ravens. They have a problem with their center, Mac Burke, starting center, having back spasms. And as you pointed out, Dave, they didn't really score much in that first half last week. It was all a second-half run. So I think this total is a little bit too high. Ravens' offensive line concerns, a natural grass, probably less scoring than the odds makers think.
Chip, last week we mentioned that the Ravens came out trailing 14-0, then 17-7 at the half. So their first unit didn't play very well. I don't think they had a game plan in particular, so it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't draw any conclusions out of that. The Lions, actually, their first unit did pretty well, 14-3 up on Cleveland. The Browns got those points in the win late in that game. There's been some movement on this game. It opened with the Ravens at 3-point favorites, come down to 2.5, so off a key number. Total went up from 38 to 39.
Well, I think, Dave, that all these teams, the teams that are in contention still want to have a positive tone. Now, we say, I don't think any of them want to go through the preseason 0-4. Detroit, of course, jumped out to that big lead and then blew it, and the Ravens, of course, managed to win. Both those teams are underdog situations last week where the underdog won. Now we have the Ravens at home favored over Detroit. Schwartz is, he's been 10-4 in August since he's taken over. 9-3, 9-4 against the points, excuse me. So I think he's looking to reestablish the fact that, coming off that loss to Cleveland, he's going to want to put a wind under his belt. Straight up in my mind, I'm thinking that, Detroit's going to look to do some damage and play some people and come up with a win here. The Ravens, of course, are going to try to stay healthy. They got a win last week. I don't think that I don't think either of these teams are in a panic whatsoever. But I think that the mode and the attitude to win is going to be stronger with the Lions. Even though the first string on their club played fairly well last week, you still want to have a team win and you want to have a little camaraderie coming into the season. I lean toward the Lions here. Again, this is preseason and we still have more information to garner before this game kicks off. But their preseason record, and you had mentioned, John, that they're 12-3 against the AFC, and that they've done so well with Schwartz in the month of August so far. I got to go with the Lions now.
I'll give you two quotes in this game. Quote number one. This is from one of the head coaches. I like the way our young guys competed and executed. Sounds like he's happy. Coach number two. You want to play well, and I don't think we played well on offense, defense, or special teams from the beginning to the very end. Well, I'm gonna bet on the coach who just said, I don't think we played well on offense, defense, or special teams from the beginning to the very end, as opposed to the coach who seems to be pleased with what took place last week. The coach who's pleased is John Harbaugh. The coach who's not pleased is Jim Schwartz. I'll take the Lions. This is the essence of what preseason is about, is reading these little quotes from coaches. I don't think you can handicap preseason football. I've never felt you can handicap preseason football because a lot of times they don't have a game plan. So all you're looking for is an edge. And that's the whole essence of handicapping to begin with, is just find an edge. If you've got that, you're going to win more than you're going to lose, and you're going to get more money than you put through the windows coming back. We're not talking about hitting all your bets. You can't sit there and say, well, that's it, I hit 80%. You don't hit 80%. But if you can get to a 55% edge, that's all. If those two quotes give me a 55% chance of winning this football game, then it's a good investment. Ask anybody who plays the stock market. All you want is a good value, a good return on investment. If you get that, you will make money. The Lions are the right side in this football game. I mean, they're going to win the game, but they're the right side. I can tell you that. Okay. Before we get to our question of the week on Twitter, let's check in with our man of the street, who happens to be Jim Feist.
Thanks, Dave. It's hot on the Vegas Strip, and I mean hot. I don't know, 116, 114. It's hot, but it's even hotter in the Las Vegas Sportsbook. Don't let anyone tell you can't win in preseasons. Odds makers, they put up lines, they put them up on sides, they put them up on totals, and when they do that, there are soft numbers to go after, and that's what I do. Last year, I was 10-1 in my top games in the preseason, 9-5 in the preseason totals, and I'm stepping up with my preseason total of the year. Now remember this, it's $50 online, but you can get it for $25 with a guarantee. And that guarantee is you will win, or August is free on me. That's right, you will win this game or August is free on me. And all you have to do is make this call, 1-866-841-1655. Back to you, Dave.
Okay, thanks, Jim. As always, that is Jim Feist, our chairman of the board. Let's get to the Twitter question of the week. And if you follow us, first thing you got to do is follow us at Jim. I always get the addresses at Jim Feist Sports, at Jim Feist Sports, all one word, obviously. Now, questions, comments, welcome. If we use your question on the show, you put in a drawing to win $100 worth of plays from any of the handicappers. You can choose whichever one you want. This is from a gentleman in Decatur, Georgia. We do find out your name and location if you win. We do have to have that information, so we can't come on and say your Twitter handle necessarily. We actually use your name. Amos Roberts, Decatur, Georgia. The Packers were a weak running team last year, went 15-1. The Giants were dead last year and won it all. Is the running game dead in the NFL? Should it be ignored for the most part by GMs and handicappers? I'm going to answer this first. Absolutely not. It actually still is an extremely telling statistic. I know these teams, you're right. The Packers really didn't have a great running game, but what they did have was a Hall of Fame quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is going to be in the Hall of Fame. The Giants, first of all, the Giants did have a terrible year running the football, but they almost didn't make the playoffs, number one. And when they got in, Eli Manning just went off. He was awesome. If you've got an incredible quarterback with today's rules, maybe you don't need to run the football that much. But how many incredible quarterbacks are there in the NFL? 5, 6? I'll tell you a team that didn't have a sensational quarterback last year, 49ers. They have a game manager in Alex Smith. They made the playoffs because, and they were basically one play away from the Super Bowl, because of defense and running game. The fundamentals haven't changed. And if you look at the stats, if you find teams that outrush their opponent 2 yards to 1 in the course of a game, they win the game almost all the time. So more attention gets paid to the marquee quarterbacks, and I guess with good reason. They are game breakers, and they can change the way a game is going with one play. But if you can find a team that has a good running game, chances are they're going to be in every game. The Bears have a great combination of Cutler to Marshall. But if you think they're going to be good without Matt Forte, think again. 49ers, Ravens, a lot of really good teams out there with terrific running games, and I still think it's the safest way to build a winner, to build a competitive team, is to make sure you win the battles in the trenches and win the running game. Guys?
Sorry, John. I didn't mean to step on you, but I think that this has evolved in the NFL now where the ground game is, I don't want to say it's passé, Dave. We know the Giants were last in the NFL in rushing and they won the Super Bowl. And the Jets are looking to hang their hat on a pound and ground offense, and they're just not making it. I think a quality quarterback is really, really important. The 49ers, who ran the ball down everyone's throat, got Alex Smith to actually control the tempo and complete some very important passes. Quarterbacking is so important. The dynamics of the game have changed so much in the last 20 years. But still, I think the ground game is important. The Giants only seem to be able to run when they're playing the Patriots. Excuse me, Dave. It just, I had to get that in there. Sorry. But, otherwise, the quarterbacking is so important.
They did, but that's the thing. In that game, they did run the football.
They didn't run all over.
Right. Well, that's why I threw that in. That's why I threw that in. In key situations, you're going to need that ground game no matter what. And you need to pick up that first down, whether it be a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 or whatever. And you need to establish it somewhere along the line. Truthfully, it was a Giant defense, and it was an aberration that got them where they were. And I was quite surprised myself. And even being a Giant fan, I didn't anticipate or expect it. But though the dynamics of the NFL has changed, where there's more emphasis on the offense and the passing of the offense, I think it's still a valid point, Dave. I think that running the ball and controlling the ball during the game, maybe off the clock and time-wise, is so vital to winning. You can't disregard a team that has a great running game, and the 49ers proved it last year. 2 muff punts, otherwise they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's always been a quarterback-driven league because the rules the last 8 years have changed to favor it, but you can't downplay or say the running game is insignificant. Another example would be the Jets. I mean, last year the Jets got away from running and went back to passing the football more.
That's right.
It didn't work out. They didn't make the playoffs. They got their offense coordinator fired. Yeah. And if you look back 2 and 3 years ago, they didn't throw the ball much at all. They were all about running. They got to the AFC title game each year. One area where I look at running game would be totals. I mean, teams that can run the football effectively and play tough D chews up the clock and chews up the scoreboard, keeps the scoreboard low. I mean, look at the Texans last year, number 2 in rushing with that great defense, 11-5-1 under the total. I would look at teams like the Rams and the Jets to be like that this year, under the total. The Rams have a new coach in Jeff Fisher. He likes to run the football. He's a proponent of that. They bring in Schottenheimer, who's a conservative offensive coordinator. You get a weapon like Steven Jackson, and the Jets have admitted they're going back to running the football more. So, especially in September, I would look at those teams under the total because odds makers might not have caught up.
All right, let's look at another matchup. It's the I guess the Mayor's Trophy still on the line, even though it's the mayor of New York City and they're in New Jersey. It's Big Blue and the Green Slime. The Giants and Jets matching up. Always a spirited contest. The Giants off a wild opening win. Loss. They lost 32-31 at Jacksonville. The Jets didn't look real good last week. I know it was week 1 of the preseason ship, but I got to tell you, that team's got some issues. I don't think they're going to be a very good football team this year. And maybe I'm looking for negatives. I didn't see a lot of positives out of the Jets last week. They just, to me, looked like a kind of a confused team that doesn't have an identity yet. I know that's what preseason's all about, but I don't know if they're going to find the identity, to tell you the truth.
Dave, the Bengals are one of my lead plays against the Jets last week, and I had told you that I saw them at the Jets in camp, and they're getting all the publicity and all the attention in New York, and actually the Giants are the Super Bowl champions, and here all the attention is going to the Jets. Now this week they're practicing the Wildcat, of course, and even more attention is being focused on their offense. The thing about the Jets that I think that has hurt them is their defense isn't stepping up like it has in the past. No. And they're not running the ball like they have in the past. And Sanchez, who's still young, but he did take a step backwards last year, and that really hurt them. Now, are they coming to play? Are they personally motivated against the Giants here? Are the Giants coming in with a chip on their shoulder because they're not getting the attention that they had anticipated? Giants blew a big lead. I mean, they were up 17 points against Jacksonville, and they just let the scrubs go in there, and they get caught at the end, and they get beat. As far as the totals go here, the Jets have gone under for the most part in preseason, and the Giants under Coughlin, 2 out of 3 times go over the total. I don't know how much the Giants are looking to show, and I think they're looking to protect Eli here. I don't think the Giants are going to like to go out and show anything, particularly on offense. I'd be very surprised if this game was a high-scoring game. I think the Giants will be looking to protect Manning, and because they have to consider Rex Ryan a wild card, and maybe what's he going to do for attention? Is he going to go out full bore against to get Manning and cause some problems there. I don't see the Giants really showing much after scoring 31 points last week.
John, all the early money in this game came in on the Jets. This game opened Giants 2. The Jets are now 1.5 in the game. Now, so we don't confuse you. I just said that doesn't mean that there was a ton of money on the Jets, because they moved these lines very quickly early on in preseason. It does not take a huge flood of money for a line to move. If this were a regular season game and you saw that line move, holy crap, what the hell is going on here? But in preseason, that's not necessarily the case. Nevertheless, the money at the outset was all on the Jets here.
Yeah, I'm not going to be wagering on this game because both sides of the ball have some serious issues. But I think it's very important to watch this game, from the standpoint of the New York Jets. And the reason is last week against Cincinnati, they admitted they weren't going to use the Wildcat. They didn't show anything. They just didn't even show up for that game. That's not really the case this week. It's also, in their minds, a more rivalry game for the pride of the city. And as Chip mentioned, the Giants are the defending champs, so they have nothing to prove this game. But you got Rex Ryan with his fire, and supposedly we're finally going to see the Wildcat in Tim Tebow. And the Jets historically have been great in week 2 of preseason. They're 10-2 against the spread. They're also 9-4 under the total of the last 13 games. But I'm not going to jump on those trend numbers simply because of the question marks on both sides of the ball. With respect to the Giants, they've got the much better quarterback rotation with Carr and Manning, but they got some problems. The defensive line is thin. They gave up 32 points to Jacksonville last week and a ton of yards. So I think it's a better game to watch, just to watch the strategies of both teams, particularly on the New York Jets, and whether that Wildcat and running game is improved.
Well, but I don't know how much of the Wildcat they're going to run here. They're trying to keep it under wraps. They don't want to really show that much. Now, this is interesting. Last week, they didn't run it at all. And the reason they didn't run it, well, I don't know if it's the reason, but it certainly had something to do with it. Marvin Lewis, the Bengals head coach, asked Rex Ryan, basically said, look, we haven't prepared at all for this. Would you mind not running the Wildcat? And, it's an exhibition game. It doesn't mean anything. So Rex Ryan said, sure, they never ran any Wildcat. I don't know if, first of all, if the feelings between Coughlin and Ryan would be that good. I can't see Coughlin getting on the phone and saying, hey, Rex, would you mind not running the Wildcat this week? I think they're going to run some in this game, and I'm not sure that the Giants are prepared for it at all. So that may be, even if it's only for a handful of plays, I think that may be an edge for the Jets. I would lean that way in this football game. I don't think it's a strong opinion, but, more than anything else, the Giants don't care about this. They really don't care about that Snoopy trophy. They've got the trophy that matters. They don't care about the Snoopy trophy, whatever the hell it is. So I agree with the early money. I think the Jets probably the right side, but I don't know that I want to lay any points to find out if I'm right or not.
I think the Jets, they definitely have to go to some plays using the Wildcat because it may be an integral part of their offense before the year's out, and they have to really work it through. Sanchez really hasn't looked all that great, and believe it or not, Tebow has had some really bright moments during the preseason, during practices anyway. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of it this week. We didn't see it at all last week, and I don't think it matters to the Giants, like you said, one way or another.
How big is Tebow going to be by the start of the season? Guy looks like he's 260.
Maybe 270.
270.
Yeah, he's over 250. Yeah.
That guy's huge. I mean,
nobody wants to tackle him.
I don't know what they're going to do at that position. It's going to be a mess. But, I said this yesterday on my radio show, and I'm not a Tebow guy. I think he's horrendous as a quarterback. But I think Sanchez at this point is just a guy who's, I don't know. I think he's a second-string quarterback, to be honest with you. And this team may function better with Tebow on the field. Doesn't bode well for their chances if he's their starting quarterback, to be honest with you. But we'll see what happens. All right. John, you wanted to do a best bet.
Yeah, I'll go with the Lions-Ravens under the total. It's much too high a total for preseason. I think it's going to be lower scoring than the odds makers and the general public think. Best bet of the week.
I'll take the Lions. Why not? Jim Schwartz, again, I'll read you the quote. This is Jim Schwartz said this, not me. Let's be clear, preseason games, we don't use them as a barometer. But you want to play well, and I don't think we played well on offense, defense, or special teams from the beginning to the very end. That's an edge. I'll take the Lions to get past the Ravens. How about you, Chip?
Well, I think I'm going to stay right here with this game in New York. I don't see the Giants coming out and showing anything here. I really don't. They've got, like you said, they've got nothing to prove. I think this is much more important to the Jets, who looked horrible the first week. At least the Giants put some points up on the board. I think the Jets have to come out and establish a positive tone. And I think the Jets, as far as the show is going right here, they would be my lead play.
We have some big games this weekend for you to win money on. I have my preseason game of the year, looking to make it 8 straight years with a win on that. $99 online when it goes up, and you won't get it until the day of the game. But you can get it for $29, along with a week of baseball and this week's action plays in the NFL as well. All for $29, which is an exceptional savings, and you get a lot more potential winners as well. So make the call and get in on this. 1-866-896-1629. 1-866-896-1629. Chip, 7-1 out of the gate in the preseason.
Right.
Megabucks plays are exceptional. Great offer this week.
Yeah, David, not only that, we're 9-1 since Sunday in Major League Baseball, and we're going to combine the offer for everyone. Not only could they get my NFL preseason game of the year, but they're going to get 10 days of Major League Baseball, Megabuck High Roller winners, and NFL action. My game of the year for $19. Call 866-841-1665. This is a great opportunity to make a lot of money in the preseason and in Major League Baseball. We're really hit our stride right now, and I really feel confident in both aspects of sports and playing these games. So Major League Baseball, NFL preseason, 7-1, coming off 9-1 since Sunday in baseball. $19 for 10 days of big high roller NFL and Major League Baseball action. 866-841-1665. Give me a call. You'll be glad you did.
John, when Jim Feist comes out with a big play and a total, that's when I'm glad I get Jim's plays. Because I will be betting this. I will be betting this game. I can tell you that. I will bet this game. When Jim likes a total, you get on that side. All right? It's that simple. He's going to win a lot more of these than he loses. And Jim's got a big one this weekend. It's going to be his NFL preseason total of the year. So obviously he found something he really likes.
Yeah, the sports books in Vegas, as we all know, they have certain amounts you can put on sides, but it's always less on totals because totals can be much softer. Jim loves attacking totals both during regular season and preseason. He has his preseason total of the year going this weekend. It's $50 online, but you can get it for $25 at 1-866-841-1655. If you sign up on Thursday, you get Thursday's Inner Circle TV Game of the Month in the NFL, as well as 7 days of baseball. All this for $25. 1-866-841-1655.
John Cranton is the one who puts this all together. He's our Martin Scorsese of Proline. When is the next Proline? When are we getting back to the colleges? What do we got coming up?
Proline will be up every Thursday at 9 a.m., and then we'll also have a college show. That'll be starting next week. We'll be looking at the first college games, and we've already been doing the previews, but for the games are right on tap. So you look for Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and Friday 9 a.m. Pacific time for the NFL and the college shows.
There you go. It's as simple as that. Make sure, of course, you can watch it anytime online, but if you want to get there first, well, we encourage you to do so. So that's it. For Jim Feist, Chip Chirimbes, John Cranton, I'm Dave Cokin. We thank you for watching. Win some money this weekend. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.